Buonasera again, everybody, here in Rome. We've got another beautiful evening, and I have decided to add a friend in today to our presentation. So this is the third virtual tour of the day. We're just going to bank all these tours so you can keep being entertained while the West Coasters in particular, I know you're stuck in the house right now because of all the smoke, and those of you who are missing travel. We're going to have a virtual tour today of a place that I don't know at all very well. I've only been by here. I've never actually walked around. So today I'm being joined by my friend Susanna. Ciao, Susanna.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
So Susanna is a colleague of mine who's worked with me at Rick Steves for a long time, and she is a tour guide here in Rome. You do private tours, yeah?
Yes.
Yep. And she is an expert on all things Italy and Rome, particularly Southern Italy is your passion.
Yes, especially.
Especially.
Yes, I would say.
Yeah. So today she's going to take us for a little walk, and she's going to tell us all about this really beautiful quarter in Rome that maybe you've never heard of before. As always, I've and put her email address on this post if you'd like to drop her something in the virtual tip jar. Support your local tour guides. So let's go ahead, take it away, Susanna.
All right. So hello, everybody. We are very close to the center of Rome, but not quite. So to be more specific, I want to tell you, especially for those of you who have been in Rome, that we are in an area that we would call Coppede. Coppede, C-O-P-P-E-D-E with an accent. And Coppede comes from the name of the main architect behind this project that I'm going to explain in a second. But we are in a much wider neighborhood that is called Trieste. So secondo municipio, so the second neighborhood or the second section of Rome, municipio secondo. Why this area is so special, or at least it's special to me, because it's a mix of different styles. So this neighborhood just behind me, and we have this beautiful arch that Sarah is going to show you right now, is a project that was carried out from 1915 till 1927.
Hang on just a sec. It sounds like people can't hear you, so I'm going to give you my ear pods.
Okay. So I'm stopping just to... All right.
Oops, got it.
Thank you.
There you go. Taking a break, guys, to give her some sound. All right.
All right. Is it okay?
All right. Can you guys hear her now? I think you can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this project was carried out from 1915 till 1927. So 12 years to build about 45,000 square meters and about 45 different buildings. So it's a complex of different buildings. Oops, sorry, it's coming out. Oh, gee. Sorry, Sarah.
It's okay. You take the
okay.
You take that. Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you can see me, if you can hear me. Sorry, but the ear pod jumped out. Okay. So it took about 12 years to build this new section of Rome. And it was a section that was commissioned by a company which wanted to have a sense of ancient Roman art or style in the buildings. But at the same time, since the ancient Rome period was ended since a long time, they also created a very eclectic style. In fact, we can call it liberty, we can call it eclectic, but in reality we use the name of the architect who was the mind behind this big project. Coppede. So Gino Coppede was from Florence. He studied in Florence. He was not only an architect, he was really a Renaissance man. He had...
Just hang on a sec. People are saying they're having problems with the sound. So hold on, you guys. I'm just going to go ahead. Okay, you guys, I think you can hear me. Okay, you put in one and I'll put in one.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, now you can hear both of us.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah, you keep going. All right, now we got both of us talking.
So basically, it was a project that took 12 years. At the end of his life, he died, Gino Coppede, in Rome. And the project was in 1927, it was almost over. But I don't want to go into too many details because I want you to judge with your own eyes. So, Rome can have fantastic Baroque churches, we have ancient Rome, we have the Colosseum, we have the Roman Forum. But then, if you just step out, not far away, just a little bit from the city center, you have...
This is the problem, it's in the wrong ear.
Okay, you just have different styles, and the style that we are looking at right now is the entrance. sorry, to this beautiful section that is like also emulating a Roman triumphal arch. Okay, so we are entering, you can see the big figures on top. You can also see in the lower part the iron street lamp, which is beautiful. Okay, so let's approach a little bit. Let's have a look.
So this is a style that is essentially like Art Nouveau, but here in Italy we would call it Liberty.
Yes.
Yeah, Liberty
but
style.
In reality, what I would personally say about it is that it's more an eclectic style. It's a mix of different styles. But I want to take you to a corner that it's very...
So kind of like Victorian was sort of a pastiche, like a mixture of styles. This is a similar Victorian to Victorian.
At one of the corners of the entrance, you have a little Madonna with child, just almost saluting, saying hello to the crowd entering this neighborhood.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, look at that.
It's very cute, isn't it?
It is.
So we are going to take a little walk because just in front of us we have what we call a complex of different buildings, and they look like almost like fairy tale buildings. And in fact, there is even a street called Via delle Fate, so which is like fairies, and we call them little villini. So not big villas, but little villas.
Baby villas.
In the middle of the city.
Yeah.
You have to consider that today, this very neighborhood, Coppede, is extremely expensive. It's not the only one. You are close enough to the center, but at the same time, you have this almost like fairy tale-like atmosphere. Here, we in Italy, we buy per square meter, so it can go from a minimum of 6,300 euro per square meter to 12,000.
Wow.
So it's very expensive, and you have to think that an average flat maybe 80, 90 square meters. So you do the math. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
So
Yeah.
you can easily go to millions or $500,000 to have just an apartment. But it's in a very special place. And just to give you some names, very important people over the decades lived in this area, such as Mussolini, Pirandello.
What? Mussolini lived here?
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Pirandello, the famous writer, who we both like very much.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, has always been a place that attracted, let's say, upper class people because of the money, because of the beauty, because of the almost we live in almost like a little island in the middle of the city. So look at the beautiful decoration. So if it does remind you of ancient Rome, that's exactly one of the effects that they wanted to cause on you.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that was the theme that the company, the commissioners of this area asked the Coppede, the architects, this group of architects, but Coppede was the chief, the master, and they said, we want to give an aura of, going back
in time.
Ancient imperial Rome.
So we have a question that people are asking, where exactly is this? Where are we? It's called Coppede, but that's named after the architect. But
Yes.
where are we?
Well, where are we? We are in the circoscrizione of the neighborhood that is called Trieste, or Quartiere Africano, which would be north. Okay, so if you're familiar with the train station Termini, actually it took us how many minutes? Like 8 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Going towards the Porta Pia, one of the gates of the city, and towards Nomentana Street, and a little bit to the left. And actually, one of the streets that you can have in mind as a reference, because we're really very close to it, is Via Tagliamento. Via Tagliamento, all this area has names of streets that they are related to rivers, so Tagliamento is one of those, and Via Tagliamento today is an important street, and used to be even more important because there was a disco called Piper. That was one of the references, one of the discos, one of the places where VIPs, singers, important people used to go. And even the Beatles in 1965, when they came to Italy, to Rome, they visited the Piper. Okay, so it's just very close to here.
So it's a very cool area to be in.
It is very quiet.
It is very quiet. And I mean, I would never know that I was just a few minutes drive from central Rome.
Yes. And there is in the center of different buildings, you can start seeing unfortunately is under restoration, cleaning, I don't know exactly, a fountain, that it's the symbol of this area. We are approaching Piazza Mincio, which is really the center of
Oh.
what's going on.
I think you said something that sounded like "Hey Siri."
Oh, okay, Mincio is the...
No, I didn't. I shouldn't have said that.
Sorry, it's the name of the square. Okay, so this is the main square, and you can see there is a fountain. It's not working, but you see that there are frogs. Okay?
Yeah.
So I want to tell you, and talking about the Beatles, an urban legend.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true, I don't know if it happened, but I found it in several articles that when in 1965 the Beatles arrived on a crazy night after the discotheque in Via Tagliamento, which is steps away, they somehow splashed and got into the fountain, which is this fountain, the fountain of the frogs. And in fact, you can see only the top of the frogs all around these beautiful buildings. Now, if Sarah is so good, and she's really good at giving you the details of some of these buildings, I would like you to go back when you have time and watch 3 movies.
Okay.
You don't have to watch all of the movies, but you know, several movies were shot in this area. Also because at night it's very quiet, so deeply quiet. That can be a little bit creepy or spooky.
Yeah.
So I want to mention an Italian director that some of you may know, Dario Argento, still alive. He was very prolific and productive during the 70s and 80s, and in fact he shot important scenes of 2 movies, 1970 and 1980. 1980, Inferno, Hell. I think that they kept the title in English just as it is, Inferno, like the one of Dante. And the other one is the bird of the crystal, with the crystal plumage.
Okay.
L'uccello dalle piume di cristallo. Some of the scenes you may recognize some of the buildings because they're very unique, and some of the scenes were shot here. And there is an American movie that you all know, remember, starring Gregory Peck, called The Omen. 1976. Richard Donner was the director. Gregory Peck was an important VIP, a politician, an American politician, and he had this son that was the devil, the creepy boy. And there was a scene at the beginning of the movie that was shot in this very area from some balconies of these buildings. So just in case you are a film lover, as I am, you can go back and relate to this neighborhood.
So again, it's called Coppede, which is the name of the architect. It was built starting in the 19-teens and finished, in the 1920s. And we are in the north part of Rome.
And I want them to know, I don't want to pronounce it, but that is the name of the main square of this neighborhood. Okay. And look at the gigantic...
Oh, look at the spider. That's so cool.
Spider web. So you see, there are so many elements from different moments in time. And of course, I forgot to mention, many of these buildings were partially built with travertine marble. That, as you probably know, not all of them, was the marble used for the Colosseum, used in ancient Rome. Okay, so every time you see white, okay, this is travertine. Of course, they also use stucco, regular bricks for the structure. And look at the beautiful, also, tower. We can call it torretta, little tower, with the mosaic. The mosaic's very typical technique that was so used in ancient Rome. So let's go a little bit closer.
The details and the artistic sort of flourishes on this are very beautiful. It reminds me a lot of the arts and crafts. It would have been the same as the arts and crafts movement in England and also in the United States, kind of similar time frame.
And also the use of iron for the balconies, for the street lamps, for the decoration. Look at these bees, on top of the gate. I think they're
adorable.
Fabulous.
They are. And yeah, you're right. When you look at the ironwork, I'm going to just zoom in there. It looks like something out of a medieval palace, Yes.
And that's why, for me, the closest comparison that I can do is somehow modernism in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Some of the buildings, they have a heavy traces of a medieval past with the iron gates, iron decoration, iron balconies, Gaudí, Puig i Cadafalch, Domènech i Montaner. I know that many of you have been to Barcelona or know about Barcelona, so there is a certain correspondence in between what has been done here and what has been done there. The only thing is that you know nothing about Coppede and the poor architect, but you know so much about Gaudí. So it's interesting because they were not exactly at the same time, but very similar time. So we can say that modernism, liberty, eclecticism is another word that you can use for this neighborhood, that not only because it's a Saturday afternoon and many Italians and Romans are still on the beach, but it's very quiet. And that's why horror movies, spooky atmosphere, imagine this, in the dark, with just a few lights, street lights, surrounded by such a old-fashioned, architecture.
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, yeah, I would put myself a scene of a horror movie. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's very charming and romantic.
It is charming. It
Yeah.
is. During the day, especially with all those greenery, this had to be an upper, and it is, upper middle class neighborhood. Not far. We are actually very close to the border, the boundaries with the Parioli neighborhood. That has always been a very expensive neighborhood. But this is just the borderline. So Coppede is a little neighborhood inside the neighborhood, and I really invite you to visit and to explore more next time you come, hopefully soon,
Yeah.
to Rome.
So is there? Shall we take a little stroll around and see a few more buildings? Yeah, let's go this way. We'll see a few more of these really pretty buildings. So this is something that I just think is interesting because it's a side of Rome that maybe people have never considered. A very different look, something that you would definitely not think to put on your itinerary coming to Rome. But
there
lovely.
There are some embassies and consulates in some of these buildings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and the decoration. Oh, I love all of the chimneys on top. Those are so fun. So yeah, it looks all medieval Spanish kind of, mix, yeah.
Look at this one, for example. Another beautiful, beautiful place, Morocco.
The Moroccan
so this
embassy.
is the embassy of Morocco in Rome.
Huh.
Oh, look at the Lupa.
Oh,
So
yeah,
the
look at that.
Shivo with Romulus and Remo. So you can see that the Roman theme, the ancient Roman theme, comes back again.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Huh. Yeah, this is such a nice move. It's a movement that I think people still connect with, the arts and crafts and Liberty style, because they use so many historical themes, but also organic themes, like the organic forms. I mean, when you look at the ironwork here, it reminds me very much of like the Paris metro stops, where they were trying to take industrial materials and turn them into something that's more organic. I think in my mind, this kind of style is a reaction to the industrial era. And it would have, the early 20th century is when people were kind of tired of industrialism and they were interested in turning those stiff materials into something beautiful and organic.
Well, and Sarah, on top of that, this was wanted to be a neighborhood that would offer proximity to the city, but also green. You see, this is an example of villetta, little villa. And we define villa, a house in the country, but we're not in the country. So villetta explains a little bit. So you have cypress trees, you have sycamore, you have bushes, you have flowers. So you want to somehow remind people that yes, we are in a big city, but you, since you have money, enough money to do it, you can also feel that you are in a little garden city.
Yeah.
Or just steps away, believe me, steps away, you have shops, cafeterias, restaurants, you have trams, buses running. So this is some sort of a hidden corner of Rome, even though the traffic Monday to Friday can be heavy, but it's still somehow very private.
Yeah.
That is the sensation that they want to give you.
It's very sweet. So which way shall we go?
Well, we can go there and go around.
Okay. Yeah, I think when people think about the city of Rome, they think about the chaos and they think about the ruins and all of these things. But what they don't realize is that on the outskirts of the city, there's a whole new city, all from the 19th century, because they built this up once the city became the capital of Italy, once Italy was a country. So many of these areas here, they look very ancient. This looks very ancient at first glance, but then you realize it's all 19th century. So this would have been the countryside in the mid 1800s before Rome before Italy became a country. So
Yes, but it's also true that Rome started, since it became the capital of the United Kingdoms of Italy, it started to grow at extreme speed, and especially when all the people coming, especially from the south, they wanted to have a better job, or different job, or jobs opportunities from the south, they had to build the city enlarging. So bigger and bigger, wider and wider. Of course, this is a privileged place. We are steps away from all the services, we have green areas, but just to give you an idea, Rome from the nucleus started to expand, and in 50 years, from, let's say, the unification, and the other 50 years, the city does eventually to others.
It's better to go to the beautiful ones. Yeah, so this also explains the existence of the neighborhood near the Vatican called Prati that I talked about earlier today, that didn't exist until the 19th century because they needed to expand the city with all of the new economic activity due to the capital being here. That's another really pretty little one.
It's another embassy.
Ah, is it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. Yes. It's so cute because they look like little tiny houses.
Yes. Villette.
Should we go this way?
Yes.
Okay. So you are a native of Rome, sort of, right? You lived here a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is your favorite part of Rome?
Difficult to say. I would say, even though it's it's really big, I would say the historical center. You know, no matter how many times I've been there, and I know it by heart, but I always like to take a walk through the Pantheon, Travis Fountain, and now more than ever, because yes, the pandemic is a disaster, but to be honest, I want to find one positive approach to that, and the positive approach is I go to the center of Rome in an easy way, quick way, and especially I can enjoy like never before the city, my city, empty of tourists, empty of visitors, till a point that it's a little bit spooky. And in fact, we were talking about this with Sarah. So there are some neighborhoods that, since people are smart working from home and they don't receive tourists, I mean, they're so empty that it's almost scary. But I mean, the silver lining is we can enjoy this. So one of my favorite areas of Rome will always be the city center, but this is very relaxing. So coming to Coppede, having a coffee in one of the several cafeterias it's being in a bubble. So you are not really, you can ask yourself, where am I? You can be in Rome or just in a much smaller situation in town, because this looks like it, feels like it. I mean, there are only few cars coming. It's so beautiful. The sky is blue. We're also being lucky with the weather. Look at the colors. I mean, the decoration. I mean, it's so fantastic. I mean, I feel immediately calmer. You know, more inclined to reflection. To to enjoy, just to walk for the sake of it. You know.
Yeah. And most people who come to Rome completely miss something like this. And this is what I was sort of talking about yesterday on some of my walks, is how I've been coming to this city for many, many, many years, and I've still never seen everything. I mean, I think it's fantastic that Susanna's introducing me to a part of town that I've never seen. After 25 years of coming and going from this city, there's just never been a reason for me to come to this area. So I'll take that little house right there. I'll take the white one.
It's not bad, isn't it?
Yeah. That sounds...
especially the rooftop.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me a little bit about the rooftop culture here, because I know in Rome, that's a really big part of the culture, is having a roof terrace.
Well, you know, let's say that in Rome, if you have a rooftop, you're a king of Rome, basically. But even with a balcony or a terrace. So for us, since many of us live in much smaller spaces than the average American live in, we need to have an outdoor space. And the outdoor space, in many cases, if you don't have a balcony, if you're not lucky enough to have a rooftop, you use the squares, the piazza, you use the streets, you use the center of the city. But in these cases, I mean, I have to say that everybody has a balcony well embellished with plants, with flowers, with a couple of chairs, a little table if you can. So it's really the extension of your lounge, it's the extension of your apartment. So it's super important.
Yeah. That's obviously my dream. Got to work hard so I can get myself a top floor apartment. Of course, the flip side of that is that almost none of these have elevators. So you pay the price of having a terrace by having to walk 6 flights up to your apartment. This area, though, a lot of these places do have elevators and modern services, and that's part of why this neighborhood is attractive to people, because they're somewhat newer buildings, right?
This is a Turkish.
Oh, look at that.
Look at
Turkish embassy. Hello to Mert and Mine and Lale and all of our Turkish friends. And then we have these very ugly modern buildings here,
All around, yes.
which is unfortunately sort of a situation in Rome that we have. This is so peaceful, though.
Yes.
So another one of these beautiful buildings. It's draped in ivy. So if you are putting together your wish list of places you might want to live in someday, you might say, oh, I want to live in Paris. But I don't know, with umbrella pines and fine weather, maybe you want to move to Coppede.
Yes.
That wouldn't be terrible. Let's put that on our bucket list.
And look at this with the ivy.
Yeah.
Right. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and that's part of what I think Rome has that a lot of other cities in Europe don't have, which is that they have green spaces. Oh, hello, doggy.
Hello. Don't be nervous.
Hey, sweetie, do you want to be on camera? Oh. Oh, poor little baby. But I think Rome, if I'm not mistaken, Rome might be actually the greenest by square foot city in Europe. It is, isn't it?
As far as I know, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of people would not, I don't think they would automatically assume that about the city of Rome. So, hey, you guys, my dad just messaged me as I'm filming, and my dad said I should stay longer. So, you may get 2 or 3 more days of these virtual tours if I can change my plane ticket tonight. So, I hope that sounds good to everybody out there. If we keep on keeping on and learning about the city of Rome in this beautiful solitude.
Oh, yes.
Oh, look at the big banana plant.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the colors are lovely too here, all the pinks and yellows. You couldn't really replicate those anywhere else.
No.
So, in terms of sort of the upscale neighborhoods, there's Coppede, there's Parioli. What other neighborhoods are sort of the Beverly Hills?
The historical center is very expensive, as you can understand. And
Which way?
well, you know, I would go back like in a square.
Okay, let's go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are several neighborhoods that they are really climbing up, but I would say that this is so special. And since we're not talking about a huge number of buildings, and you probably understood or noticed already, but they're not more than 3 or 4 story high, and that was part of the building to merge with nature, with trees, and not to be, you know, blocks of buildings, you know, super tall buildings. So you see, despite the fact that many don't have the elevator, or some they added the elevator later on, but it's still, I mean, manageable. You have some view. If you're lucky enough, you have a villino, which is a shorter house with a garden, and therefore the prices go up simply because there are not so many to offer. As you can imagine, some of these buildings that have been given to embassies, consulates, so they will stay, they will keep that purpose. And then there are not many other, despite the fact that at the beginning that I told you that in 12 years they built about 45 different buildings of different, you know, blocks, apartments, villini, so different kind, but it's not huge as to offer. Parioli is very close and actually has the style is not so unique, but there are some beautiful buildings in Parioli. But this is really special. So every single building that has been built during the Coppede time is very unique.
Yeah, this reminds me a little bit, at least in atmosphere, of the 7th arrondissement in Paris, where a lot of people who follow Rick Steves at least have stayed. The 7th is right by the Eiffel Tower, and this has a very similar vibe, which would make sense because it was constructed kind of somewhat similar time frame. But what I love about these things is the human touches, you know, all of the decoration, the thought that's gone into all of the details. It just, I think when you do the right scale, you do the right kinds of details, it just feels more inviting, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, they didn't replicate exactly the same pattern over and over. So it's not a copy of the same building. So they gave little touches. The idea was to create something that would merge, that would be not too tall, that would give enough privacy, but also comfort to the the people with money, so the upper classes, that didn't want to be either in the historical center, too busy maybe, or too noisy, and at the same time wanted to have something brand new. So we're talking about a moment in time in which the city was keep on moving and becoming bigger and bigger. Of course, we will have another wave later on, but especially for the workers coming from the south. But that's another story, because we're talking about big borgate, so huge buildings, all the same, like a beehive, you know.
Yeah.
But this is different. So at the same time, why do you pay so much to be living or to be renting in a place like this? Because it's unique and it's not huge. It's not. We have 1,000 different places. We have only a certain amount of buildings, and that's why.
People want to see this car, by the way. They've gotten distracted by this Citroen, which is really cool. It's a fun car. So let's walk a little bit further into go back to where we started. So I want to thank you, Susanna, for bringing us to this beautiful district.
Hello, and bye to everybody.
So I think, Susanna, what would be fun, I would like to invite you for an aperitivo.
Oh, that would be
So
great.
let's go find a place to get a cocktail.
Yes.
And what I thought would be fun is I'll invite all of my Patreon supporters to join us for just a little aperitivo chat. Does that sound good to you?
Fantastic.
All right, so we're going to go find a place to have an aperitivo. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to post on the Patreon website for all of you who are supporters a link on Zoom. And if you'd like to chat with me and Susanna, she and I will probably just talk about the typical drinks in Rome. Maybe we'll have to try all of them. All of them.
Okay.
All of them.
All right. Okay, I can try.
Unemployed tour guides, man.
Yeah.
We got to do something with our time. We got to investigate all the cocktails. So we're going to go see if we can find a cocktail. So look for the link on Patreon. I'll have it up within about 10 minutes. And we'll see you probably, let's say 6:30. What time is it now?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. We'll see you soon. I'll put a link up on the Facebook page for the Patreon supporters. And again, if you've enjoyed our walk, please go ahead and drop a little bit of money in the virtual tip jar for my friend Susanna.
Thank you.
And hopefully,
thank you in advance.
Hopefully, we'll drag her out to have her show us around Rome a little bit more sometime soon.
Okay.
All right.
See you soon.
Ciao, everybody.
Ciao.